Hello everyone, Dale Wooddy here, back with another video. This is going to be just a quick follow-up to some of my prior videos. I did want to cover some other topics, especially if you're an account manager and you're just starting out with a new attorney client. So on my last blog, I did mention just the importance of taking a look around the SERPs, the search engine result pages, in your area, looking at different zip codes and looking for consistency and why that is important. But I didn't really get the chance to touch on search ads last time. I primarily covered local service ads. If you saw the video, I discussed Google business profile optimization and how that can relate to local service ads and general local SEO. But another thing that you're going to want to look at that I mentioned I wanted to talk about in the last video is search ads. So what I did here, just to kind of give you an example of how you can get info on search ads, was just a quick DWI attorney near me search. So this is pulling it up in Memorial, Houston, which is where I am right now. And I'm just gonna click on this first sponsor link I come across. Larry P. McDougall, DWI Defense Lawyers. Looks like they've got lots of extensions, helpful ones at that. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at the landing page and see if we can get any ideas from it. And then what I'm going to do after that is plug it into SEMrush and just see if I can get any helpful data that might inform a better strategy. So when you do come across a search ad, you're going to, if you click the link, you're going to land on a landing page, right? And so one thing you might want to do is just take a look around and see what you can do better. So most landing pages, they're going to have a few features in common. You always want to make sure you've got a click to call button. So if you were to click this, it's going to go ahead and let you get in touch with the law office. You're going to want to make sure that you've got some contact buttons. If this were my client, I would definitely want to bring this contact form up closer to the top because my prior research tells me that that helps conversions. So keep in mind, you're going to have various people that hit a landing page and they may not know that they can click on this button, or they may not even know what a hyperlink is. So you want to make that contact form super duper clear, make it easy to find. And that's not just on desktop. You want to make sure it does that on mobile as well. So I am kind of curious what this site looks like on mobile. I'm going to open DevTools up. Let's go ahead and just look at this on an iPhone 12. I see the contact button is pretty up there at the top, and you can see it pretty easily. Let's see if it works. And then it brings you to a contact form. So mobile, I think it's probably a little bit easier, but again, you always want to make sure you've got a contact form that's nice and visible on a landing page, because that does let you sometimes work with a lower budget because it's easier to use the page and you're going to get more conversions that way. All right, so another thing I did want to do, let me click out of this real quick, is just take a look at the domain and see if they're getting any kind of paid search traffic, what that looks like. Let's just do a domain overview in the advertising tab here on SEMrush. And I'm going to unclick organic and just kind of get a feel for how they've been doing. So there's a lot of reasons why you may sometimes see a competitor that has lower traffic. This can mean a lot of things, that they maybe are not putting as much into a budget for PPC at the moment. Could mean that they're running ads elsewhere and that data isn't showing up here. So sometimes, just keep in mind, you do have to go a little bit more in depth if you're doing competitor research. You'll want to make sure that you see what other platforms that competitor's on. Are they on YouTube? Are they on TikTok? How many likes did they get per video? How many followers do they have? In video, by the way, folks, if you're an attorney and you're not using video, that is a huge, huge, huge mistake. Because remember, YouTube is a search engine. People use it. People also use TikTok too. So you got to keep that in mind. If you're not using video, get that taken care of. All right, so back onto the topic at hand here. I'm going to go ahead and just take a look at a couple of things here, like advertising research. I'm going to take a look at their ad copy and just see what they've ran ads on in the past. This is telling me this person's probably done some cases for sex crimes, prostitution. So for those of you in Texas, prostitution is a felony now. I think that was a recent legislative change, so I wouldn't be surprised to see attorneys running ads on that in 2023. Display advertising, so if they're running display ads, looks like I would have to set this up. I haven't set it up yet, but it will let you see other types of ads that attorney might be running, so pretty helpful. You can also kind of get a feel for what keywords they're using, who their main competitors are, so it can be pretty helpful just to take a look through here. Like for instance, this Sims firm attorney, I might want to take a closer look at them and see what keywords they're using to get traffic as well. Keywords. Okay, so this is just telling me what keywords the person's ranking for in paid traffic. And again, I'm seeing a lot of prostitution, sex crime stuff come up. So you don't want to just look at the organic traffic data in SEMrush. You want to get a big picture of what's going on with the SERPs. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes if you're doing background research for a client who's just starting out, you're going to probably have to spend a couple of hours on getting ready for that meeting if you want to honestly just know everything, which can be very, very helpful. You are going to get attorneys who will put you on the spot, and you don't want to be in a position where you can't give a clear answer. So doing this prior research is really, really helpful. Anyway, let's just go ahead and use this same attorney since I've already got them open. And let's move on to Screaming Frog. So I mentioned I am using my MacBook Pro right now. Typically I'll use my Mac Studio or my MacBook Pro if I want to shoot one of these videos. So just a heads up, folks, I'm not as familiar with a Mac as I am with a Windows computer. Windows I've been using since I was like a toddler. Mac's a little bit new. So if you do see me kind of slow down or take my time to move things around, that's probably what's going on here. Let's go ahead and plug in their domain and see what comes up. And I'll show you just what kinds of website errors you really want to be looking for. All right, let's see what's going on here. Okay, so it's crawling, and it's just going to give me kind of an overview of any issues on the website and so on and so forth. So there are certain errors like slow loading pages, 4xx errors. If you saw those, you would want to fix them. Looks like this person's got a few of them. So these are just broken web pages. You don't want to have these on your site. It hurts UX, so user experience. A couple other things you might want to take a look at that also hurt search engine traffic in particular and can hurt user experience are things like missing page titles. So if you don't have a well-written, relevant page title and description, it's not going to show up on the search engine result pages. Typically what Google will do is just try to make sense of what's on the page and it will pick its own. So if you are trying to improve your click-through rate, you want to make sure that you don't have any issues with meta titles, meta descriptions, and so forth. And then just moving down here, there are certain types of issues that can slow a website down. If you see, for instance, that one of your clients has just a whole bunch of photos that are well over 100 kilobytes, you got to fix that. I've seen a couple photos on a client's website before that had gotten transferred to me, and there were photos on that guy's website of like over 2 megabytes. So you don't want that. Try to picture yourself loading that. Like, try to picture being a potential client for your client. You're in the middle of nowhere, you're on your cell phone, and you're trying to load the guy's website, but you can't because nothing's loading correctly. You want to avoid that type of BS. So just keep that in mind. And then kind of just going down the list here, this is a free tool, by the way. You can spot certain types of JavaScript errors. You can spot certain types of content errors, like if something's loading incorrectly. So it can be pretty helpful for that too. Another thing you can do, if you have low content pages, you can take a look and see if any of these are actually worth fixing. What you will notice a lot of the time here is that these are like tags and categories on a website or blog feed pages. But sometimes it can actually clue you into a low content page. So content, always really important. If you have it on your website, make sure it's relevant, make sure it answers search intent. Really try to make it engaging, which is difficult for AI to do, right? So keep that in mind as well. H1 title, this is a top loading title. It can help Google search engine make sense of what a page is about. So you're going to want to make sure that you have clear, very relevant H1 titles to whatever type of content is on that page. So just keep that in mind as well. These are just a couple of examples I'm going over here just based on experience. Can help you find broken redirects too. So if you've got any kind of redirect errors, it can help you find that. So just keep in mind, this can be a pretty powerful tool if you have an employer that's not paying for like Ahrefs or SEMrush or anything like that.